Unpopular Opinion, Part 1. Sleeping with socks feels nice, especially when it's cold and you want warmth down there. I ain't joking. Sure, it can feel nice sometimes to sleep without socks, but there are some nights where I don't mind them and it's not so bad. This is a necessity. I have poor circulation in my feet. They will not warm up without socks. Sleeping with socks is smart. Well-fitted socks helps you fall asleep faster, improves circulation, lowers body temperature, and can, in some cases, even prevent hot flashes and flare-ups of Raynaud's. My GP advised it a while back. I am at least at autumn-winter time a fan. I'm Canadian, and in winter, I like the window cracked just a tiny bit and cozy socks on. I'm Dutch and do the same. Window open and bed socks on. Wearing socks in general feels terrible. I feel like the best part of getting home is getting those things off. I'd rather sleep on concrete than be forced to wear socks when I sleep. I also really don't like socks, but for some reason, when I'm going to bed, they're acceptable. Haha. When I was young, I dreamed of a pair of woolen bed socks because I think I saw some cartoon bear with them, and I was obsessed with being cozy. I even tried learning to knit so I could make my own. Eventually, someone knitted me a pair, and they were the most horribly scratchy, irritating things I've ever known. Still, a good pair of thick white sports socks on winter does the soul good. Extra hardworking employees/coworkers ruin it for everyone just try and get their work done and go home. What the title says. These people make meetings run longer, make everyone else work harder with no extra compensation, and are just a pain for all of us who have a life outside of work. Edit. For those saying I'm lazy, I literally worked a 10-hour day today. Did I volunteer to do extra work in the meeting today? Nope. Did I work hard to complete my work? Yes. Did I keep asking questions in the meeting to look overly engaged? No. I get my work done and stay out of the way. I have a life and family outside of work. I work hard only to provide for us, not to get some magical pat on the back or praise from my manager. ITT people thinking there's only two types of workers, above and beyond, and slackers. There's plenty of in between. Some people do the work assigned, do it efficiently and correctly, but don't do any more than that. I bust down my work just so I can have an extra 30 min to scroll Reddit after lunch. I take frequent breaks. I take my sweet-ass time. But I do what's expected of me, and no one ever has to pick up my slack. It can be heavily dependent on what your job is, though. I maintain the floors at hospital, so some days I can get away with sitting around for nearly a quarter of my day like I did yesterday. Someone in a restaurant, for example, certainly couldn't get away with what I do. It's the highway speed problem. We can all go 70 and get there safely and easily. But some people have to pass others to feel like they're going anywhere, so they go 5 or 10 over the limit. It doesn't materially change their lives, but they feel like they're making more progress, and that makes others feel like they're going slow. And eventually, you get whole groups of people speeding together. Then along comes someone going normal speed, and suddenly you're mad at them for speeding with everyone else. And that's what grind culture does to us, constantly pushing towards extremes. I used to be like that when I first entered the workforce. I wound up filling a position that needed extra support, and when everything else fell apart, they gave the entire workload to me. I was doing the work of multiple employees, while my supervisor offered no support because, in her words, I don't know how to do your job and I don't have time to learn it. I was glued to my desk all day, sometimes getting overtime. I worked through lunch. When I slept, I dreamed of work and I started having daily anxiety attacks from the pressure. Plus, I was also trying to cope while being overworked. You know what I got? More work. People learned they could pass work off to me or ask me to expedite their requests, and I'd do it with a positive attitude. I was underpaid and expected to just deal with it because one day they'd look into it. As long as I got everything done, they saw no need to rush additional support my way. At one point, my coworker told me not to work so hard and set expectations too high, or they would just come to expect this workload from me. So I started chilling out more. What got done in my 8-hour day got done, and what didn't was evidence they needed to hire a second employee. I started vocalizing my desire for market pay. After HR review, I received an almost 40% pay raise. A second employee was hired and expedited, so now I have seniority. People still rely on me, but I'm much more relaxed and chill. What gets done, gets done. And when I'm not at work, I'm not thinking about it. You're right. People erroneously think if you work hard and sacrifice, you will be rewarded. You will not. You get what you want when you advocate for yourself. You get additional help when you demonstrate that you can't carry it alone. And you never want to make yourself indispensable in a position you want to promote out of. Part of growing up is realizing being good at your job is a balancing act between being good enough to get promoted, but not being so good that you're doing the job of multiple people, and it would cost more to fill your position if you did get promoted. I had a manager not promote me for this reason. I was working at Aaron's delivering furniture. I was the only driver that had been there since the store opened. Very new store. They had been through 4 other drivers in the year and a half I had started. A manager position came up and they hired someone off the street. My manager told me word for word, "You're too good at delivering. I couldn't afford to lose you at that position. You've seen how many people we've been through. Sorry." So I asked for a raise. He said no. I immediately started looking for a job, found one less than 2 weeks later, and dipped.
Dreary days are the best days. The vibe of a rainy, dreary day is always so much better than a sunny day. For some reason, it feels super homey and cozy when it's dark out all day and raining. Now, I'm not from the UK. This can only be said when you live in a climate with vast weather. If every day is dreary, you wouldn't enjoy it the same way. In order to enjoy dreary, you'd likely have to experience other weather as well. If you don't live somewhere snowy, then snowy days are fun and beautiful. If you're in snow majority of the time, you'd feel elated by a sunny or dreary or dry day. Hard disagree, dude. I need that vitamin D or I turn into a sad gremlin. I feel exactly the same way. I'm coincidentally also a night person. I wonder how much that plays into it. There's some cool theories about why night people exist. The Sentinel hypothesis says that night owls actually have a genetic difference that could be traced back to prehistoric times. Prehistoric tribes would have needed certain members to be on guard duty throughout the night, and these guards likely would develop a preference for nighttime to make it more pleasant. They would have sat around a fire and maybe even told stories to pass the time. If this is accurate, it could explain why night owls feel so cozy or creative during the night, because their brains are functioning optimally. We might even have a subconscious association with the coziness of campfires and the entertainment of storytelling. It's just a theory, but it's a fun one. Physical education classes in schools should be far more intense. We have a health crisis all over the developed world, and it starts young. I taught gym for decades and witnessed a gradual decline in fitness levels of students, coinciding with a decline in how demanding the curriculum was. We should return to how it used to be in some schools, with intensive fitness drills and gym routines where you actually need to work up a sweat, as well as quality competitive sports. Nowadays, many would find those sorts of classes very challenging, but over time, it would raise fitness and self-discipline. Or we should do activities that allow kids to move more. I was an active child not because I hit the gym, but because I played outside every day, because my father would take me hiking on the weekends, because we had a cheap pool nearby where I could go swim. That's why so many people aren't active, because we each have different activities we enjoy. We should focus on letting kids play outside as much as possible. And for older kids and teens, we should focus on what each of them are interested in doing. My university had this program where we could choose our sports. We had a gym where we could go, and it was called the fitness class. We had basketball, football, dance, swimming, skiing, and many more. I understand small schools don't have the budget to do that, but a little more freedom in choosing what to do helps a lot. Especially dance. As little kids, our teacher would let us dance for an hour before going home. We need to make the activities enjoyable and fun, not a boot camp. Yes! In junior high, I had rotations on different sports. Dance, archery, weightlifting, softball, tumbling, ping pong, golf, tennis, and more. Instead of just high school running around the track in 100 weather with 90 humidity, while the coach sits on their butt writing football plays for the upcoming games. My kid's middle school does this too, and she's really enjoying it. The teachers are very focused on teaching skills rather than just elevating the kids who are super athletic. It seems like they want the kids to find joy in movement rather than play a sport to a certain level of proficiency. Short-term gains for long-term losses isn't great. The key should be teaching kids fun ways to stay fit that can be continued into adulthood. And then making sure adults have easy access to such activities. I was very fit as a teen and young 20-something, but then ended up with a long commute and a desk job. This 100%. When I was a kid, the PE classes were the absolute best part of the day. So much fun playing flag football, the big parachute thingy you run under, dodgeball, all of it was great. Now the kids in PE are doing so much regimented bullshit you can tell they hate it. It's boring as hell. They might get 10 minutes at the end to actually play a game they want after standing on a spot doing random exercises for 15 minutes. Jobs where you do nothing suck. I currently work a job where I do absolutely nothing and I get paid well for it. I rock up, and aside from routine checks that take 10 to 15 minutes at the start of my shift, I spend 8 hours watching Amazon Prime and YouTube, and I hate it. I always thought this type of job would be the dream, but I yearn for a job with purpose and something to actually do. When people tell me what I do, they're always jealous, but they don't understand how mind-numbing it is. I'm moving to a different area in 2 months where I'll be back to actually doing work, and I'm counting down the days. Find something other or more productive to do than watch shows, then make use of your time. I do other things too, just without disclosing what I do. It's an unfortunate position where there's nothing going on, but I also can't really be distracted away from my computer. I am in the same situation as you, OP. I have to go to the office every day and sit in front of a computer even if there is nothing to do. After several months, I started to feel dumb, and I asked for holidays, which has helped me to do a mental reset. What I'm trying to do now is 1. Office walks and coffee breaks whenever possible. 2. Socialize more with other workers, even if I have nothing business related to discuss with them. 3. Be more proactive in the job with mixed results. I mostly end up doing things that are useless, but at least I learn a little bit more about it, and sometimes I find some new ways to optimize processes. 4. Learning French, which is something I can do online. Still, shit is really bad, and I don't like it. But my country's job market is very competitive, and I can't just walk away. I always remind myself that I'm getting paid and that my CV is going to look better when I eventually leave, or maybe I can switch departments within the company. Honestly, 2 and 3 will probably get you pretty far, even if it takes time. If layoffs come around, it's not always the best workers they keep. It's the people they want to be around and the ones they trust to not blow up when it gets tough. I've been in the same situation. It's mind-numbing sometimes. And despite what people on Reddit say, most coworkers are pretty amicable and potentially good friends. I've such a job where the actual work on a 40-hour work week is 20 hours. Lucky for me, I work from home. I can fuck around without pretending to work. I also use that free time to get my master's degree. I wouldn't trade this job for anything. Yeah, I think having this kind of job as remote versus in office makes a huge difference. Years ago, I worked for a company that didn't fire or lay people off. If they wanted to get rid of you, they sent you to Coventry. You had to show up for work every day and put in your 8 hours, but had 0 work to do. For most IT guys, it was a fate worse than death, and a very fast and effective way to get rid of people. Was there people that stayed at Coventry for a long time? No, not typically. People quickly figured out how bad their situation was, and that the best thing to do is to use all that free time to find a new job. So I guess as long as it took to land a new job, which in my field, IT, took 2 to 6 weeks back then, honestly, I don't hate it. You basically have as much time as you need to find something new without worrying about money. Only thing that would be better was for the company to be upfront about it, but sometimes you take what you can get. So, thank you very, very much for watching, friends. Write about your unpopular opinions or opinions about this stories in the comments. I will be very interested to read them. You can also watch these cool videos. Talk to you soon.